Hi, Shane here. You're watching Sam for God, and this is Mark. Check her out.
So hi guys, how are you doing? A lot of you guys seem to really enjoy this background in my previous sit-down video, so I thought I'd come and film again here. I'm using complete natural light again, but it is about 3:45 p.m, so the sun will be setting in the next half hour or so. So if there's a change of lighting throughout the course of this video, I'm sorry. I know we're kind of right in the middle of January now, but I always do this thing every year. I have done basically more or less since the beginning of my YouTube life, or at least when I started to take YouTube more seriously, where at the start of every new year I tell you about like a certain amount of things that I did the previous year. So obviously because last year was 2019, I'm going to tell you about 19 things. 19. I don't know why I did 19 because that's not 9. 19 things that I did in 2019 that I feel like were memorable, or were like, I don't know, something that changed me somehow in that year. Anyway, let's just get into it. Number one, the first thing that I did in 2019 that was really exciting for me was that I went up the Shard for the first time. Now if you don't know, the Shard is a very tall building in London. It's been around for a while now, for quite a few years, probably even longer than just a few, I don't know. I've seen it many a time, I've been around it, but I've never actually gone up it. But my friend Sam was moving back to Scotland around like this time last year, March I think it was actually, or February, sometime last year. And so me and a couple of my other friends decided to do something cute for her as a leaving thing, and we decided to book an afternoon tea at the Shard, and it was really fun. Like, it was a nice excuse, obviously, her leaving, to do something big like that, because it's not cheap, guys. Obviously me and my two other friends kind of chipped in to pay for her as well, but yeah, it was lovely. It was really nice. The views from up there were amazing. It was just, for me, it was the first time that I got to see London from a really high perspective. I've been on the London Eye before. I did that in 2016 with my friend Beth, but London Eye is different to like actually being somewhere high up for a while, long amount of time. And the afternoon tea there was really beautiful. It was just a beautiful time. It was beautiful to spend it with friends, and it was just great to be able to go up there for the first time. So yeah, the second thing that I did in 2019 also weirdly relates to my friend Sam. So again, because she was moving back to Scotland at the beginning of last year, I wanted to do something fun with her as a last thing in London as well, kind of thing. And so we went up, basically there's a thing called Up at the O2. And I've been wanting to do it for a while. A few of my friends did it about 5-6 years ago, and at the time I was scared of heights, and I guess I still kind of am. But for some reason they never really asked me to go with them, and I was always really sad about it because they never even asked me. They said it was because they didn't think I'd like it, and to be fair, they were probably right, but I would have liked the option. And they did it, and they said it was really good. And since then, you know, for the past few years I've been wanting to do it, but never really had done it for some reason. Mentioned it to Sam, and she seemed up for it, so I surprised her with the adventure. So yeah, I think it was around mid-February that we did this. It was probably about actually literally like a week before she moved back to Scotland. It was a beautiful day as well. Like, there's a vlog of it, so if you want to check the vlog out, I'll leave the link down below. But even though it was like the middle of February or the end of February, the weather that day for some reason was so nice. Like, it wasn't too cold for February anyway. It was quite sunny. We didn't even have to wear the winter like outfits, because they've got two different outfits for Up at the O2. If you go in the summertime, you only have to wear like a gilet, I think, and trousers. I can't remember if no, I think we had our own trousers and we just had to wear a gilet. But if you go in the winter, you have to wear a full-on bodysuit. So we thought we were going to have to wear the bodysuits, which would have been fine. Like, we would have liked that as well, whatever. But it was just really nice to not have to do that. Like, we were just surprised that we just had to wear the gilets because the weather was so nice, and it meant that we had a very beautiful view as well. Again, it's so funny because I did like two very similar things in a very close length of time. I think both were done in February, of like seeing London from a high perspective. Obviously the Shard was very different, but with the Up at the O2, it wasn't quite as tall as the Shard, but you still got to see a lot of London, and you got to see like a different part of London, East London mainly. And the O2 is a place that I've been to so many times over the years since it opened. I've been to so many concerts there. It just means a lot to me. Like, I've seen so many amazing bands there, some of my favorite people there. So it was just really cool to kind of climb on top of it and to just be like, wow, I'm on top of this venue that like all these incredible bands that I like have performed in. It was amazing. We had a great time, took some great pictures. You get about like, I think maybe 15-20 minutes up there. The climb, I wouldn't say it wasn't as difficult as I expected. Actually, there were times when I'm trying to remember it. I think going up was weirdly easier than coming down, just because when you're coming down, like, I don't know, it's just, it felt a bit weird. I would say though that even if you're scared of heights, it's something that I would recommend because it's not too scary, and the instructors there, I mean the one that we had was lovely. He actually said he recognized me from my videos, which was even better. But yeah, they're very accommodating and we had a nice group of people when we went. So yeah, that's the second thing that I did in 2019. The third thing I did, I guess, in 2019 is that I got quite a few new piercings. I got my first one of 2019 in January of 2019, and then I got a couple of more as the year went by. I think I just finally decided that like I might as well just get these because there were piercings that I'd wanted for a long time, and I just had kept putting them off for some reason. One of the piercings was actually a part of a piercing that I'd wanted about maybe 6-7 years before that, so it felt really incomplete. So I had about 4 piercings already, I think, and they were placed in a very weird position because my aim had always been to put something else there and I just never did. So I kind of decided to just sort them out. So yeah, got a few piercings in 2019. Number 4 is that I also got quite a few tattoos in 2019. Now I got my very first tattoo, which is this one, this castle. I've done a vlog of this as well, so if you want to check that out because it's my first tattoo, you can. I'll leave it down below if I remember. I got this back in May of 2018, so just under 2 years ago. And when I got that, I already knew that there were a couple of other tattoos that I wanted, like just a couple of other ones, not an extreme amount of other tattoos, just a few more. But I only got that one in 2018. I didn't really think of it getting any other ones in that year. And then in 2019, in January, I decided to get my second one, which was just a star. I've got it here. It's a tiny star that I knew for a long. I knew that I wanted that tattoo since I was like 11 years old. So I just decided to go and get it. Got it like on a whim, basically in between shifts when I was working at the Royal Opera House one day. My friend Sophie came along with me. Shout out to you, Sophie Webster. And yeah, I guess that kind of started a little journey for me where I got at least, I want to know, how many tattoos did I get last year? I think I got about 4 or 5 within a year, which is quite a lot considering the year before I'd only gotten 1. But what they say is true, basically. Tattoos can be addictive. It can kind of go one way or the other. So some people get their first tattoo and that's it. But if you want more than that one tattoo, then you might as well accept that you're going to be getting tattoos throughout the rest of your life. Number 5, I guess, is quite a generic one, but I got to visit some new places in 2019. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I think in 2018, one thing that I was kind of sad I didn't get to do quite as much was traveling. The only new place that I went in 2018 was Morocco, which was amazing, but I didn't get to do that until the end of 2018, towards the end of it, and I wish I had got to see more. Last year I was very lucky that not only did I get to go to Holland, basically, with my friend Marie. There'll be vlogs of that coming up very soon. I went there in September, got to see a bit of Holland. It was really cool. I'd never been to Holland as a country before. I also got to go to Glasgow, which I had been before a couple of times, but I'd never experienced it properly. So I went with my mum in the summer of 2019 and actually spent about 3 or 4 days there and actually got to properly enjoy the city rather than just kind of going for like, I don't know, a show and coming back down. So it was lovely. We both really enjoyed Glasgow. And then the biggest of all is that I got to go to Hong Kong, which is insane. And I know, like, obviously, if you've seen my Hong Kong vlogs, I only really went to Disneyland, Hong Kong Disneyland. I didn't get a chance or the time to go to actual Hong Kong. I would definitely like to go back to Hong Kong and actually see the city, but just the fact that I got to go to Hong Kong, and Hong Kong Disneyland, for me, that's like one more Disney park ticked off the list. I've only got one left now, which is Tokyo Disneyland, which I really wanted to happen this year, please. Anyway, number 6, I guess, is kind of related, so it's more Disney themed. Obviously, I got to go to Disneyland Hong Kong, or Hong Kong Disneyland, sorry, I keep saying it wrong, for the first time, which was amazing. But I also got to tick off another thing off my list, which is the fact that I got to stay at the Davy Crockett Ranch Hotel in Disneyland Paris. This hotel was the very final hotel that I wanted to stay at, because I've stayed at every single Disneyland hotel basically in Paris. Davy Crockett Ranch was the only one that I hadn't stayed at, and the main reason for that is because to be able to stay at the Davy Crockett Ranch Hotel, you need to be able to drive, you need to be able to have a car, because that's the only way to be able to leave the resort and go to the park. It's literally, like, I've read it up on it, you know, people say, oh, can you like book a taxi or get an Uber? It's so difficult to do that it's just not worth it. They basically tell you, they advise you that don't come and stay at our hotel unless you have a car or like a hired car, or you can drive, you know. And I was very lucky that my friend Sophie volunteered. She was like, oh, let's do this, like, I can drive, and she'd just driven in Italy, I think, the month before, so she kind of had experience driving in Europe rather than England, with just a different side of the road kind of thing. And she was like, should we do it? And I was like, thank you so much, yes. And it was really great. It was just great to be able to stay in a new resort, and the last resort that I wanted to stay at in Disneyland Paris. And now I can safely say that I've stayed at every single Disneyland Paris hotel, which is really, really nice. I also got to visit a new theme park, which is a theme park that I've been wanting to visit for a long time. So this is actually number 7. The 7th thing that I did is that I got to go to Efteling, the theme park in Holland, for the first time. This is a theme park that a lot of you guys who watch my videos for the longest time, honestly, I feel like ever since I've been posting videos about theme parks and Disneyland and stuff, a lot of my Dutch viewers have been telling me that I need to go to Efteling. So it's a theme park name that I've been hearing for so long, and I'd looked it up, and it seemed like something that I would love, and I just hadn't done it. I kept saying, you guys would always ask me in like my live chats or live videos, you'd be like, oh, when are you coming to Efteling? And I'd be like, I don't know, I really want to, I don't really have a time for you yet though. And then randomly one day my friend Marie was like, should we do it? And I was like, yeah, why not, I'd love to go. And then yeah, we booked it really cheap flights, and we went for a couple of nights, stayed in the actual Efteling hotel, got to visit the parks and theme park. We basically did everything. It was a beautiful park. The vlogs for that will be coming up very, very soon as well, so make sure to subscribe if you want to see the vlogs from that. Yeah, it was really good, a really beautiful park. I think it's probably my second favorite. In fact, I think it's probably my favorite non-Disney park, theme park that I've been to anyway so far. Number 8 is that in 2019 I had my very first solo long haul flight. So I've flown a lot in my life, and I've flown on my own a lot in Europe, like back and forth from like London to Vienna or London to Geneva. Like I've flown a lot, but I'd never flown a long distance, a long haul flight, flights that are over, I'd say 5 hours. I think, is that what you call a long haul flight? Basically, I'd never flown from a different continent to another continent on my own before. It wasn't a big deal, like it really wasn't, but you can tell, I guess I was kind of struggling with all the numbers for this one, so I thought I'd include this as well. It was from New York to London, because when I went to Disney World in New York, my friend Rakaya, in April of last year, she wanted to stay a little bit longer than I did, and so obviously I left sooner than she did, so I just flew back on my own. It was actually a really nice experience as well, because somehow, I don't know how I got this lucky, obviously my seat was economy, and then a flight attendant came to me and said, or I think it might have been actually someone who was on the flight, I don't know. Basically, as it turned out, there was a situation with a couple and their kids or something, and the husband of that couple, or the boyfriend or whatever, had a seat in business class, I think it was, or was it economy plus or prime, economy delight, I don't know. It was definitely a better seat than my seat, a higher standard. Maybe it was business class. Anyway, this person wanted to sit with his wife, who was in economy, and his children, so he was like, would you mind changing? And I was like, of course. So yeah, loved that flight, had a beautiful sleep on it, great times. Number 9 is that in 2019 I went to my very first mass, I don't know how to say it, but basically like a Sunday mass, I think that's how you say it. I'm not a Christian, I don't believe in any religion, to be honest. I just have my personal beliefs. But anyway, I respect religions, I respect different beliefs, and my friend Sam was down in April, I can't remember now, and she's not religious either, but she was brought up Catholic. So we were just walking around London and we came across this really beautiful church, like a very small church, a church that you wouldn't really kind of, it's not like a famous church, but we just saw it, and it was Sunday, and Sam was like, should we just go inside and have a look? And I was like, yeah, of course. And it happened to be mass time, obviously, and then we ended up doing it. And for her, it was something that she's obviously done many times before growing up. Like I said, she was brought up Catholic, even though she doesn't necessarily believe it now. But for me, it was the first time I did it. It was really cool. It was really interesting. I just felt like it was, yeah, something new that I experienced. I actually really like churches, even though I'm not religious. I do really enjoy going to Catholic churches and just having a look, and I feel there's something very, very powerful for some reason that I feel when I'm in a church. So yeah, I enjoyed that experience. It was cool. Number 10 is that I got to go on 2 new West End stages in 2019. Now, I'm very lucky that because of what I do on YouTube, weirdly enough, and on Instagram, I sometimes get invited to shows and musicals and plays and stuff. And sometimes when I get invited to these shows, they want us, like as a social media person, to go on stage before the show or after the show and just kind of have a look and show you more of what's going on. And yeah, last year I got to go on 2 new stages that I hadn't been on before. It's really weird. I find this whole thing so weird, considering I'm not an actress, I'm not an actor, I don't perform. Sorry about the noises outside, I'm getting distracted. Yeah, I just think it's so interesting and crazy, because I have always been such a big musical theatre fan, and when I first moved to London, especially for the first few years, I was constantly in theatres, like almost every night. I was making the most of my student discounts, and it just, like, I can't believe like how things have changed, and now I get to go on stages just randomly, just like it's crazy. The 2 stages I got to go on, by the way, if you're wondering, were at the Shaftesbury Theatre, so where Anne Juliet is, as well as the Savoy Theatre, where currently they're playing 9 to 5. So yeah, 2 very iconic theatres. The Savoy Theatre especially is a theatre I'd been to so many times over the years. Like, I've seen so many shows at the Savoy, so it felt crazy to me to suddenly be on that stage and to just kind of see it from that perspective. Yeah, really, really cool. I'm very, very lucky for these experiences. I can already tell the lighting is changing, guys. It's getting darker. Anyway, number 11 is quite a sad one, actually. You guys probably all know this because I've been banging on about it for so long. I talk about it all the time because it still like annoys me. I got hacked in 2019. My YouTube channel got hacked. This YouTube channel that you're watching me on right now, it got hacked. It was weirdly my own fault. Like, I really blamed myself for a long time when it happened, because somebody emailed me. Obviously I got a scam email and I replied to it without thinking properly. It was really bad timing. I was about to get on a flight and I got this email and I panicked and I replied back to it without properly thinking and looking it through, because I didn't want anything to happen whilst I was on the flight. And literally when I was on the flight I thought about it and I was like, oh my god, what have I done? And then yeah, unsurprisingly, I was hacked not long after that, literally there and then 2 days later YouTube closed my channel because of whatever this hacker did. It's so frustrating. I was honestly so frustrated for a long time, especially because I didn't even understand what they'd done, and YouTube had not been very helpful initially, because I contacted them as soon as I realized I got hacked and they didn't really help me much. And then I thought everything's okay, I guess. They said just change your password, and I did, and I was like, okay, let's hope everything's okay, because everything seemed okay on my end at the time. And then 2 days later my channel got closed and I was like, okay, well, clearly things weren't okay. But yeah, as you can see, even now I'm still getting really angry about it, because it was something that just didn't need to happen. And yeah, I'm just very happy and lucky and so grateful that I have my channel back. Didn't think it would happen. Whew, can't believe it happened. I'm not gonna let this happen again. If you are somebody who uses social media, even if you're not like a YouTuber of any kind of sort, even if you just use social media for the lols, like if you just use it for your friends, or if you just have Facebook, like, be careful with it. Make sure to have a strong password, and if you can, like, this is what I've done now, I've got like a double-step verification situation for all my social medias. So even if people find out my password, nobody's gonna be able to get in, because there's like at least one more step they have to take to be able to get into it. A lot of it has to do with, like, they have to then contact your phone, and you know, my phone is here, nobody else has my number. So there are many ways to make sure you're as protected as possible on social media, and I think I've definitely learned my lesson now, and I wish I had sooner. But you know, take it from me, if you're somebody who uses social media, make sure that you're as safe as possible with your passwords. Number 12, I think it is, the 12th thing that I did in 2019 is that I actually left a job. I left a job that I really, really loved, and I had been there for quite a long time, over 4 years. It's the longest I'd ever stayed at a job. I genuinely really enjoyed the job. I had great people around me. It was a wonderful time. It was a great place. Still have fantastic memories from it. Every now and again I visit it and I love it, and I've made some really incredible friends from it. I'll probably make actually a whole video about that in the future. I wanted to at the time, but at the time I didn't have a channel. My channel was hacked, so I couldn't make that video there and then. I also vlogged my last week in that job, so that video will probably come up as well. But anyway, it was a big thing for me. It was hard because it wasn't like I wasn't hating the job. It wasn't a situation where I hated working there at all. It was just a situation where I knew that it was the right thing for me to do. I knew that I needed a change, and that's why it was hard. You know, sometimes when people leave jobs, it's because they really don't like the job anymore and they're kind of done with it, or they have a misunderstanding with their boss, like something like that. None of that was happening for me. Genuinely still loved working there, but it just felt different because a lot of my friends had gone, so it didn't feel the same, and I felt like if I stayed any longer, I could maybe then start losing all the good times that I had there. And I just felt like, you know, 4 years is a long time for me. I don't stay this long in any job, especially a job that isn't necessarily my passion. You know, this was a front of house job in a theatre. It's not like my passion. I don't want to work in that field. It was just a job that ended up becoming much bigger and better for me than I wanted it to, or than I had planned it to, and I don't regret anything. I'm so happy for everything it did for me. But yeah, I just thought it's time to go, and it was 100% the right decision. As soon as I handed in my notice, I knew it was the right decision. Like, I didn't have any doubts, and I still don't have any doubts. Yeah, I feel like if I'd stayed any longer, maybe then I would have ended up not liking it as much. But yeah, it was a big thing that I did in 2019, so I thought I'd include it here. The 14th thing that I did in 2019 is that I started running. Now, you know, I think it's just like such a insignificant thing to say or even mention, but you guys don't understand. Like, I have never liked running ever. I'm 29 and all my life I've hated running, the thought of it, just the idea of it. I've never been good at it. It's just never been something that I've understood or thought I would ever enjoy. And yeah, in 2019, I can't remember when it was, maybe around May or June time, I decided to just download the Couch to 5K app and just give it a go, because I knew a lot of people around me, especially at work at the time, who did run and enjoyed it. And I thought, I was like, you know, maybe there is something in running that I'm missing out on. Like, let's just do it. And I also wanted to become more fit. So yeah, started to run, and haven't necessarily kept it up. In the last few months of 2019, when it got colder and winter came and stuff, I just decided to use that as an excuse. You know, I shouldn't have, but I kind of stopped running as much as I wanted to. But for like a big chunk of 2019, I was running on a regular basis. And don't get me wrong, I'm not like a great runner by any means, and I still can only run for like a few minutes at a time, and then I need to walk for a bit before I can then run again. Obviously my aim is to finally eventually be able to run full stop for like half an hour without stopping. And yeah, I'm gonna, as soon as I feel up for it, hopefully when it gets a little bit warmer, I'm gonna start back and you know, go back on the Couch to 5K and continue that journey, because I haven't finished it yet. I haven't completed the cycle yet, obviously, because I haven't been able to run for half an hour yet, but I'm kind of halfway through, I think, or maybe I was on week 3 or 4 when I kind of stopped. I would repeat some weeks because I wanted to be as confident as possible, because like I said, I was a complete beginner in terms of running, so I felt like some weeks I had to repeat because I was so new to it. But yeah, I'm gonna hopefully continue that. My aim is to one day be able to run one of the races in Disneyland Paris, like either a 5K, 10K, and if I can push myself, maybe a half marathon, but that won't be until like in the very distant future. The 14th thing that I did in 2019 is that I had a very Disney-fied birthday party for my 29th birthday. I turned 29 on the 29th of July, so I thought it was just kind of fun, you know, having your day or age be the same as the day that you were born, kind of thing. It's only going to happen once in your life, and for me that was last year. And so I decided to just have a little Disney party, and everybody came dressed up in Disney characters. And because I was born in 1990, basically the theme was for like the characters to be all from Disney films from the 90s. So basically my childhood, all my favorite films were in the 90s Disney wise. The Renaissance era of Disney is what they're called, like Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, even like Little Mermaid. It came out in 89 in America, but it came out in 1990 in the UK apparently, so it's still kind of the 90s. Yeah, it was really great, and all my friends really stepped up their game, and I was so like amazed when they arrived at my house. Some of them had incredible costumes. Again, if you want to watch the vlog from that, I'll leave it down below, or you can check out my Instagram for some pictures from that party. But it was incredible, like some amazing outfits. We had almost like characters from almost every different film from the 90s in the party. We had Pocahontas, I was Esmeralda, my friend was Buzz, we had Nala, we had Meg. There were so many great people, Lumiere. Like it was great. I really enjoyed just seeing the effort that my friends put into the costumes. I really appreciated it. The 15th thing that I did in 2019 is that I got to hold an owl. Now if you watch my 1 second a day video, you would have probably seen a clip of that. That's from a vlog that I still haven't managed to upload because of my channel being hacked, but I will probably upload that as well. My friend Oris and I, back in I think August of 2019, went to Chessington World of Adventure, and they have some animal experiences, and yeah, we decided to pay a bit extra and hold owls and just learn a bit more about owls. And I never really thought I was into owls. I've always thought they're nice, but you know, I never really had a big connection to them until I held them. We held 2 different owls each. One of them was smaller, one of them was bigger, and it was just incredible. They were so soft. It was just incredible to be that close to them. And the guy who was like kind of teaching us about the owl was so nice, so informative. We learned a lot about owls. I really like owls now. How many more times can I say the word owl? The 16th thing that I did in 2019 also relates to animals, and it was from the same trip actually. So I also, when we went to Chessington World of Adventure on that visit, we also got to do something that I've been wanting to do for like so long. You guys know how much I love giraffes, guys. They're some of my favorite animals, and if you haven't watched my 2017 Disney World vlogs, you should, because that's kind of what started this whole joke about me being like, oh, I really want giraffes to come at me. And yeah, I finally got to get as close as I have ever been to a giraffe in 2019. I actually got to feed giraffes food. Like, there was food in my mouth, there's a giraffe in front of me, I give this food to them, I put my hand here, they literally lick my hand and take the food. It was a beautiful experience, kind of disgusting as well, I'm not gonna lie. I did get licked by them accidentally on the ear. after I fed them once, and I got panicked. I panicked for a bit because I had just had a new piercing, and I was like, oh my god, I've got like giraffe spit on my ear now, and I went and washed my ear for like an hour afterwards. But it was beautiful, it was so lovely. I would definitely do it again. Unfortunately, it was quite busy when we did it. I would love to go at a time when it's maybe not as busy, so we have a bit more time with them. But yeah, it was lovely. I would love to do more stuff with giraffes. I think there's more experience that you can do around the world. I just love them, I really do. I think they're beautiful animals, and they're so big and tall, and there's something about them. I love tall people. Yeah, it was great. It was such a lovely time, and thank you to my friend Arzu as well, because she really made the experience even better than it could have been. So yeah, loved it. A good highlight of 2019 for me. The seventh thing that I did in 2019 is that I started skateboarding. Now, the way I kind of started skateboarding is so random and interesting. It was one of those things where not long after I lost my YouTube channel in September 2019 when I got hacked, I was at a couple of my friends' house. We were just chilling, and we were just talking about life, and by that point I had already given my notice to leave the Royal Opera House where I used to work at, and these two friends I'd known from my previous job, and so we were just talking about, like, you know, how hopefully how we'll still see each other after I leave and stuff. And I don't know, randomly I just told them, oh, I really want to skateboard, you know, I've always wanted to skateboard. And then suddenly one of them was like, let's do it. And I was like, okay, I didn't think you'd want to or you'd be up for it. And they were like, no, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We'd both be up for it. And yeah, they seemed really excited about the idea. And like, honestly, the next thing I knew, they'd like found 2 different instructors online, asked me to choose one of them, chose one. They called her or messaged her, and like we were buying skateboards. And within about 2 weeks, we had our very first lesson. Cannot thank my friends enough for this, because I feel like it's something that I really needed at the time, and I didn't even realize that I needed, and I didn't even think anything was going to come out of it. Like we were just talking about life, and I mentioned that I want to skateboard, and suddenly, yeah, I was literally skateboarding. It was great. It was really great. It really helped me at a time when I felt like I'd lost everything, and I needed just something to focus on. And it was hard. Skateboarding is difficult, guys. Like, I had never skateboarded before in my life, so I was very new to it. Neither had my friends, actually. They snowboarded but not skateboard. So yeah, we were all very new to it. But our teacher, our instructor, phenomenal. She's so great. She's so lovely. We have a great time with her. She's literally like a friend now. She's so fun, and she enjoys us, I think, and we enjoy her, and we just laugh when we're together. But she's also very good at teaching us. It was great. It was exactly what I needed at the time, just like a new hobby, new challenging thing to kind of put all my mind and focus to. And I'm, like I said, I'm really glad and grateful to my friends Devon and Anissa, shout out to them, for kind of, yeah, just making it happen. And because I probably wouldn't have done it myself, and it was kind of them that kind of pushed me. They were like, yeah, let's do it, come on. And yeah, it's something that I hope to continue in this year. The last 2 things are a bit more personal, I guess, and a lot more deep. So the 18th thing that I did in 2019 for me is quite a big thing, and it's the fact that I confronted somebody and yeah, got rid of them from my life. Basically, I'm not very good at confrontation. I'm also unfortunately not very good at getting rid of people. Like, not everyone that comes in your life you need, and that's just a fact of life. I think I'm very forgiving and understanding, unfortunately. So when people even do things that I don't think I agree with, instead of just cutting them out straight away, if I really don't agree with something they do, I just try and like gradually distance myself from them or fizzle them out, instead of just being like, hey, what you're doing is wrong and I don't want you in my life. I find that really difficult. It's something that I'm working on, and yeah, I'm very proud of myself that in 2019 I managed to do it with somebody that had been bothering me for close to a year, I want to say, maybe like, I don't know, at least 9 months or so. And this person wasn't like a close friend or anything, not even a good friend, I would say. They were just somebody that I used to work with, and we were not like friendly acquaintances is probably the best way to describe us. We chatted, we enjoyed each other's company at work, we were friendly at work, we maybe had hung out a couple of times outside of work just to kind of get some food before a shift or something, but it wasn't anything serious. We weren't friends, or definitely not good friends. You know, some people might say we were friends, maybe we were, but if we were friends, we were very casual friends. And this person had started really irritating me with some of the things that they were saying. I was starting to really doubt everything about them. I didn't understand them. They were confusing me. They were just making me feel like shit, basically. And I obviously started distancing myself, obviously, for a while, and then they left the job and I didn't have to see them again for a while. But then because of stuff that they would do online, some of the stuff that they would do would still really bother me. I don't want to get into too much detail, but basically it was difficult. But finally, I don't know why it took me this long. I think because this person's actions were so confusing that I just couldn't understand fully. Like you can see now, it still angers me when I talk about it, because they just were so, they're just such a, I don't know, they were just not a good person. Yeah, I finally around October time decided to fully confront them properly, and it was scary, and it was I thought about it for like a day. Sent my friend Arizo actually a message about it. I was like, what do you think? Do you think it's going to be okay if I do this? And yeah, I emailed them a massive message, like explaining to them why I was annoyed at them and why I thought what they were doing was wrong and how it had made me feel, and basically told them, like, sorry, I don't really, can you just not contact me again? I don't want you in my life, kind of thing. And thankfully that was it. I haven't spoken to them since, but it was difficult. I don't like miss them by any means. That is the thing, that's why it's very confusing, because it wasn't like a sad situation where like I was sad to lose them as a person in my life at all. I don't know what it was. I think maybe I was just a bit scared of them, of how they would react. I don't know. It's something that I'm working on. Like, being confrontational is good sometimes. Sometimes you need to be able to tell someone, I don't like what you're doing, you need to kind of stop, or just leave my life, or don't talk to me again. I've always, like, you know, done it in my own way. Like, I've always, if somebody does something that I don't agree with, I do tell them that I don't agree with it in my own way, but not as directly as I should, or I wish I could. And it's something that I'm working on, and like I said, it took me a while to do it, but the fact that I did it was a big thing for me, and it's something that I hope I can continue doing in the future, because, you know, I'm nearly 30 now, and I don't want toxic people in my life, and especially manipulative people. I don't need them, and I don't need to have them. I don't have, like, it's fine. I can get rid of them. Like, I've got the power to tell them no, and it's a big thing to kind of realize that you can actually do that. So yeah, I really, it was a big moment for me, and to you might not be, because a lot of people are more direct and confrontational than me. Some of my friends, like, actually are so good. They've actually really influenced me in a positive way, my more confrontational friends, because seeing them deal with things makes me realize that I can be like that as well. I don't need to be as passive as I sometimes am. So yeah, that was number 18. And then I guess finally number 19, the 19th thing that I did in 2019 is that I opened up more to my close friends. I've not been very good at opening up to people in my life ever, really. In the past few years, I want to say since the start of 2016 or 17. 2017 for me was a turning point. After that year, I started to be a little bit more open with friends about, like, things that I feel, and like personal issues maybe. And I feel like 2019 for me was the peak, because I was going through a really hard time as well. If you don't know, I felt mentally I wasn't well for the majority of last year, and I still, like I said, I'm still not at my best. I'm working on it. I'm better than I was last year, but I'm still working on it. And so yeah, it was really nice to be able to open up to some friends. Obviously not everyone. I think it's really important to not feel like you have to tell all your friends everything, and that you can just choose, and people that you really trust, and if the time is right. And I'm very lucky that I have a few friends that I really trust, and they're very good at listening. And a few of these people are actually people that I've known for a long time, but I'd never really said about some of my, like, issues before, and I decided to just be brave and tell them, and they were very good about it, and it was lovely. It made me feel closer to them. It made me feel better just about having acceptance from these people. Yeah, I want to say I've got about maybe 5 or 6 people in my life that I can really trust with this stuff like that, and I can just talk to them about these things, and it's beautiful. And if you have friends that you can't talk about these things with, that doesn't mean they're not good friends either, by the way. It's just dynamics are different. Some people are really good at listening, and you just feel like you can tell them things, and some people necessarily aren't that good at that. I don't think that's a bad thing either. And sometimes I want to be with friends who maybe don't know much about my personal life, and I just want to kind of be chilled with them, and then sometimes I want to just kind of let everything go and tell people stuff. So that's been really nice. And sorry, that wasn't even my phone, that's my dad's phone in the background. Sorry about that noise. Wow, it's getting really noisy now. What a way to end this. That is it, guys, though. Thank you so much for watching. I know this was a very self-indulgent video. I just talked about myself basically, and how I've improved and what I've done in the past year, and all the great stuff that I've done. Don't get me wrong, I had a lot of bad stuff happen in 2019 as well, obviously, and I don't think I'm great in any way. I just thought it's a good thing to do, because I do this video every year, and it's a way for me to reflect back on things and then watch it back in years to come and be like, oh, okay, so these were the highlights of that year for me. But yeah, Lord have mercy, next year when I do this is going to be even harder, because it's going to be like 20 things that I did this year, so I better start doing cool things this year. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment down below and let me know what was like 1 or 2 things that you did in 2019 that you were very proud of, because I would be really interested to hear about your journeys as well. But yeah, thank you for watching, and I guess I'll see you in the next video. Bye.